about Bell is if you look at their history in the airborne public safety space, you have to go back more than 70 years. And, Bell not only developed and fielded the world's first police helicopter and the world's first fire helicopter, we're still partnered with those same agencies today.
Yeah, I like that. It reminds me, Terry, of another thing you said, and I'm going to get it wrong. I think the saying is you either manage up or out. Is that correct?
Yeah, you bet. So you're either managing up or you're managing out. Anything in between, is potentially not leadership at all. And so if go back to the general's quote, if we're pushing up the hill as leaders, we're managing those people up, we're developing them, we're training them, we're getting them to the next level. And to Brian's point, when the employee has lost their way and they need to be managed out, it's our job to manage them out. And anything in between is, again, it's not leadership. I want to, if I can, John, just comment on something else Brian said. And, it's that, I think what he was saying was that empowerment, whether that's the authority of a project or, a special tasking, whatever. Empowerment it's huge, but there's a part of that so often I think as leaders we miss. Empowerment is also removing obstacles. What's standing in that employee's way, and I would even add to what Brian said. It's not our job to figure it out. Sometimes it's our job to communicate with that individual, and it might be as simple as asking him, "Hey, what do you need? What do you want? What makes you mad?" In regards to that obstacle or in regards to that project, and what might seem foreign to us to try to figure out, he's dying to tell us. And us as leaders, we just have to simply ask at times and have that culture that allows them to respond to us, so we can then empower them and remove those obstacles that are potentially in their way.
To expand on it a little bit, and again, it was, what do you want and what makes you mad? Is that what it is?
It's any version you want, but what I use is, what do you need, what do you want, what makes you mad?
That's right.
Those three things.
And you gave an example. It's simple, but I think it hammers the point of the mechanic and the problems you're having. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, all kinds of examples. The one that perhaps relates the emphasis the easiest. We had a rash of hangar accidents, right? Essentially our technicians falling off the ladders in the hangar and getting hurt. We had a period where we're averaging about one a year of that. And it was a big issue. What are we going to do to stop this? And so we literally, and there's a whole story to it. I'm going to give you the short one. We went to those technicians, said, "Hey, what's it going to take to get you to stop falling off these ladders?" "Well, sir, they make these helicopter platforms that are designed for the make and the model, and they have these nice safety railings and cushions so we don't get as tired." And that broke this 8-year span of accidents cold turkey. And it was literally as simple as asking them, and so the follow on is, why haven't we bought these in the past? Well, sir, no one ever asked us. No one ever asked us what we needed in this regard. Expand that to what they want. Ask them what motivates them, and ask them what makes them mad. And when you have that culture in which they are allowed to answer that and allowed to answer it freely, they will come screaming to you with those answers, and you'd be amazed at how much you can learn, and then how much you can move those metrics, if you will, how much you can push up that proverbial hill.
Yeah, I think oftentimes we get really deep in the weeds and come up with all these philosophical answers to what leadership should be and how do you fix problems. And we never stop to think, hey, what do you need? Like, that simple question can solve a lot of problems, and it's not asked a lot of times.
Well, and I'll take it just one level deeper real quick, John. So why don't we do that as leaders? I think the number one obstacle that we as leaders typically have, we get ourselves in the way of that. Our ego doesn't allow us to do that. I'm in charge. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to give the orders here. I'm the one that is smart. And you're foolish when you're in a room full of people that you're leading to not tap into that resource and to think that you have all the answers. That's let's call it what it is. Ego is a killer of leadership, effective leadership.
Brian, I see you raising your hand.
Just add on to that. Through the when I was with the safety program with APSA for 10 years, I get emails constantly from members asking for help. And I would say the majority of them, the vast majority, were people dealing with exactly what Terry said, where they were dealing with an issue and they had a supervisor who just refused to listen to them. And they were right. Their conclusion was right. And it was the whole span of problems you could have at an aviation unit, from personnel, when people should leave, who should be allowed to fly, should we have flight suits? I mean, it was everything. And they would write me out of frustration and say, hey, this is what they're trying to do. And I would take that email and put it on APSA letterhead, maybe wordsmith it a little bit, put my name on the bottom, send it back to them, and send it back to their supervisor. And 95% of the time, it was very rare, I didn't get an email back or a phone call saying, hey, that worked, thank you very much. And I wasn't saying anything different than they were. And usually I didn't really change it that much. But it was just because it wasn't coming from, and I hate the word subordinate, it wasn't coming from their subordinate, so it might be something that's worthy to listen to. And again, this going back to this culture of law enforcement globally, of it's weak, this idea that it's weak as a leader to listen to your people. And we further complicate that in aviation by having a very specific and complex skill set and profession, and then putting leaders over it that have no background in it. And it puts them in a place where ego, it's a trap. And suddenly you know nothing about what's going on. And these people are coming to you all the time with this stuff. And if you combine that with this unhealthy culture, this leadership culture, you don't want to listen to them. You know, some days it feels like someone could say, hey, the sky's blue. No, it's not. No, the sky's not blue. And okay, well, the APSA guy said the sky's blue. Okay, well, yeah, I said the sky was blue. It's so frustrating. I mean, again, I'm rambling on at this point, but I just wanted to carry on with what Terry said, that, you know, a lack of willingness to listen to people who are working for you. And pilots, you know, we can't point the finger at anyone else, because then we turn around and don't listen to our maintenance people. And we think we know everything about maintenance. And we try to make those decisions, when, exactly like Terry said, sometimes we need to sit back and say, you know, hey, what do you need? I don't understand this, or I trust, you know, this is how it needs to be, because you're the maintenance professional, not me.